Happy
Happy
Friday.
Friday.
How you doing, Josh?
Doing pretty good. Happy Friday,
Yeah.
everyone in the chat. Glad to have you all here. It's a good Friday. It's a good
It
Friday.
it is a wet and rainy Friday over here.
Oh
And
no,
this morning, so Allie's sick currently.
that's
She is
never good.
in the room right on the other side of the wall of this office, coughing and sneezing. So I had to take all the children this morning to school and to my mother-in-law's. And on the
Mm.
way back, I get home into the carport and I open the front door to the car and I just hear, "Sss." And I'm like, huh. And I was like, oh, it must be the other day I like bumped something over where I have all like my tools and stuff. And there was
Okay.
like a can of spray paint over there. And I was like, oh, it must have got like jiggled and the spray paint's just like going off again. And I walk over there and I'm like, no, not coming from over here. And then I get closer to the sound and closer to the sound. And the
Mm.
back left tire of Allie's Tahoe has a giant bolt this
Oh no.
size straight through the wheel. And so
Mm.
that tire is very flat right now.
That's definitely a way to start your Friday. Then
It is not a great way to start it, but it is a way to start it. So yeah,
it's a way. It is a
at
way.
least we're ending it on a good note here with the crew.
That's good. So is Family Friday going to look different today? Then
I don't
a
think it'll
little
look
bit
that
different.
much different. I think Allie said she's gonna, do a ride
Rally.
along,
Okay.
and instead of picking her and the kids up from school, it'll just be the children, and we'll do the same thing we usually do. But Allie doesn't have to be ending her work day; she's ending her sick day.
No.
What you been up to this week?
Oh man, it has been a good week. So Monday had it off because of the holiday, but it was also my wife's birthday, Kara's birthday, so that was fun. And we did like a family zoo trip, which was fun, and
Zoo is always a good time.
yeah, just enjoyed not having to worry too much. I barely didn't touch work at all on Monday, so it was really nice. There's very few times I get to do that. And yeah, so it was a great day, great week. Not too much that I've been up to other than just,
Let me tell
just
you, you
doing things.
gotta have a week. You have to have weeks like that sometimes where you just stop all the extra and just do like the bare minimum that
Yeah.
you're like supposed to do, because there's just no way to keep operating on full blast
Oh yeah.
constantly. It just doesn't,
Oh yeah.
not sustainable.
Yeah. So I've been enjoying playing around with like just new technology. I've been building a whole bunch. I've been in we've kind of talked about on the show, but like the last couple of months I've been in the era of like personal software. I've just been
Mhm.
building things for myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's been fun. So I built a couple like fun little music apps, not a full DAW, but
Right.
I built a couple of
Yeah.
fun little
What kind of
music
crazy stuff
apps.
like that?
Played around with building a agent orchestrator a little bit. So it's just
Ooh.
your typical week, I
Okay.
guess.
Your typical week, just a basic little agent
Yeah.
orchestrator, no big
Yeah,
deal.
just like a little like yeah, how can we
Yeah, tell me more
stream
about that.
CLI
What was
updates to
your
your
like, I want to do this
yeah.
because of X? Like, did you have like a specific reason you wanted to build your own because you felt like something was missing from other ones, or was it just like I want to understand how this all works?
Kind
Maybe a
of kind of a
mix.
kind of a both and. I wanted to understand a little bit more about what hooks actually look like within AI agents. So every AI agent, Cursor, OpenCode, Claude Code, Codex, they all have like some form of hook where you can
Mhm.
be like, hey, before it starts, do this. As it's running, do this. When it finishes running, when it asks a question, do this. I wanted to like know how that actually works all
Right.
together. And then I also wanted to understand a little bit more about like um basically like WebSocket streaming
Mm.
to an API. So like I wanted, so it all came about with like I was always using like different pieces of tools, but they never worked cohesively. So I was like, what if I just had one tool where I could kickstart something from my phone and then pick it up on my laptop, or kickstart stuff from my laptop and pick it up from my phone. And the easiest way to do that without having to worry about, like kind of like SSH tunnels and everything like that is like a web interface. So that was pretty much the biggest thing. And I do like the idea of like a Kanban for agents. Not everyone loves it, but I like it because it fits great with my use case. It's just been a little bit of toying around with it the past couple of nights.
It's funny that you should mention that because I am in a very similar
toying around phase.
Yeah. Like, I've not gotten to the playing around with it phase.
Okay.
Until like yesterday, I started pondering what I could and should do. I downloaded Pi
with agents.
So I downloaded Pi. Do you know what Pi is?
It is like that is the one that is very like a minimal version of open code. Is that correct?
And its whole shtick is that it's meant to like be able to like build itself around your workflows.
So
like it's kind of like it's what OpenClaw uses and is kind of based off of, and all like the memory stuff and all the extra little bits and bobs that OpenClaw has decided to do is just like a bunch of custom stuff on top of Pi.
Got it. Okay.
So like, but at its core, Pi is like just an agent stack, AI stack that is like has its ability to like understand how to make itself better. So I downloaded that because I wanted to just kind of like dig into that and just kind of see what that's like. I've been following along with Joel, like Egghead Joel.
Oh yeah. Joel
and
Hooks.
And he has done so like I want to have him on, and I had a chat with him a couple weeks ago, like a video chat, and I was like, I need to have you on our podcast because he's just gotten like super deep into all of this, and I think it'll just be like a super interesting conversation digging into like what have you learned, like what is your experience with all of it, etc.
He's a very, very interesting guy, and he has like a really neat educational type background because he did his whole like badass courses, and then he is now at Vercel, I believe.
Yeah, he does like Vercel, like a bunch of like I think education type stuff there too.
Yeah, I got to meet him when I did the web dev challenge with Jason Langsdorff.
Yeah, good crew. Yeah, no, he's like you know how like there are the people who I guess my personality type is very much to be like super duper reactive to anything somebody says. So it's like if you're saying something, then like my emotions are on the end of my sleeve, whether you want what I want them to be or not. And then like other people, they're just like you can't tell if they like you or not. That was like how the conversation went, and it was a really great conversation. By the end of it, we were both like, this was really fun, I'm glad we did this. But like for the first half of it, I couldn't tell if he even liked me or not, you know. So it was really funny.
I feel that.
But yeah, no, I've been the part that I've been like interested in is like the agents part with like Kanban thing, like how not because like I'm like, oh man, Kanban sounds so cool, but like I guess my thing is like, how do you get to a point with your workflow to where you can trust AI, like sending AI off on all these little independent tasks that can like stack up, and not get like overwhelmed and swamped with the like review and maintenance portion of all of that work, because I've yet to get like I guess there's like two ways to think about it, which is just like, is this an app that is meant to be like long-term, stable, scalable, etc.? If so, then like you have to be reviewing everything. You have to make sure you're keeping like your code base clean and stable and like cleaning up behind everything. And then there's the other side of it, which is like, okay, YOLO it all. I don't care. I just want to make something that works. And like, in which cases, like, I don't care. Like, yeah, Kanban would be great because I can just put every idea and task that I have, send it off, and then just like merge all of it in when it's
Mm.
done. Um, but I've been like, that's like one of the things that I like want to dig into today is like how do you build a workflow or process around still letting agents be the driver for getting stuff done, but in a way that doesn't like overwhelm your ability to create good software.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
I
can
have,
dig into
yeah,
that in.
I have a lot of thoughts about that. Cause
Good. Cool.
like my first like reaction is the reason why I almost like seeing things at a glance. So for example, I am not someone that has like 20 terminal windows open and I'm running 20 different git work trees on like on like the whole thing and doing like 20
Right.
different features at a
Right.
time.
Yep.
But here's what before any kind of Kanban work, if I was just doing what I have done for like 85% of me using AI,
Mhm.
here's what my normal workflow typically looks like, which I wanted to improve. It typically looks like I open up Claude Code in my specific project. I have
Mhm.
that project running locally, so like Composer run dev, npm run dev, all that stuff, so I can see it. I have it do a task, and it starts working through the task. Like maybe like let's say, hey, this isn't working like I expect it to be. This is the flow that it should be, and here's a specific error when I get when I do it. Let's figure this
Mhm.
out and work it. So as it's going through that, Claude Code usually takes longer, or depending on like what tip agent. But I could expect that to be like 5 to 8 minutes if it goes into a plan mode, or if it's just something like that. And then I am clicking around in the rest of my app, going through flows, thinking through things, and I see something small, like I see something super small, like, hey, here's this drop down that
Mhm.
the third drop down is not full width. Let's fix
Yes.
that.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so I kind of have two things I could do. I either open up the code editor and fix it myself because it is a small thing, but I also like to be in the flow of like, okay, let me put it into my agent and then I'll keep going back to QC and doing all this
Mhm.
stuff. But here's the problem. If I put in my agent, it either queues it, and sometimes even with like the smarter agents, it just forgets about it or just doesn't do whatever you queued, or it like stops and it's like, oh, let me fix that. And then it doesn't go back to where it was doing. And
Mhm.
so what I have learned with like the few times I've gotten Kanban to work well with my brain is like I like the idea of making myself think in smaller chunks, because
Mhm.
otherwise I'm like, hey, here's this huge feature. Let's build this out. And then it just only gets 70% of it right. And I'm going through things. But instead I can be like, hey, here's like this particular thing. Let's do that. Oh, and
Right.
also let's fix this UI thing. Let's do that. And most of the time they're not touching. I
Yep.
might open up a new Claude Code instance and do that. But then I also don't like the fact of like maybe they do touch and I like them to be a little bit separated, or I just like seeing from a visual glance, like, hey, here's the 5 things that I just did. I'm
Mhm.
reviewing each individual piece separately instead of having to think of like reviewing it all in one big chunk.
Yep.
So it's more of like my own mindset in the sense of I usually have a hard time breaking down problems. And I feel like it's not even like a Kanban flow. It's the sectioning it off so I can see things at a glance flow
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
makes me break them down into smaller problems. What
Yes.
what
Yep.
would your current flow look like if you just did what I explained? Like you're working on a big feature with an agent, but
Yep.
then you
This
find
has, like,
something
been me
small.
this whole last 2 weeks.
Yeah. What do you usually do?
I usually so I have recently so I used to do Cursor, a bunch.
Okay.
I used to just be exclusively in Cursor, and
Yeah.
then I would just open a new Cursor tab in the agent, like the little chat thing, and I would be like, "New tab. Hey, I noticed this thing, fix this," while
New
the other
tab.
guy's
Let's do it.
still, like, doing his thing. Um, I've since moved off of Cursor, and I
Okay.
just use, um, the Pi agent. And before that, I used Claude Code. Um, but I used just like terminal agents with Tmux um,
Yeah.
in Vim. And so I'm just like because like I'm rarely jumping into the code base to write a bunch of code, But when I am jumping into the code base to write a bunch of code, like there's no better place to do that than in Vim, because like how quick you can move around the code base, how fast it is, how snappy it is. Like that was like my big problem with Cursor was just like I was just using it for like a code review tool.
Got it.
And then
Yeah.
when I did finally get to the point of like wanting to like, well, maybe I just want to write this thing because it's not getting it right. And I just want to like, I know exactly the shape I want it to be. Let me
Yep.
just do it real quick. And then like Cursor would like try to auto complete the thing and it wasn't right. Like it was auto completing the wrong thing and all this kind of stuff. And I just had in Vim set up for like a couple years and got really into it before like Cursor kind of took over. And so um I'm just like that's like my workflow. I use Zed for like code review because
Yep.
like NeoVim's like terminal based code review is just like not great. Like it just doesn't feel good to like just stare at diffs in a
Yep.
terminal. Great for code editing, terrible for diffs. So like the thing that I like honestly like the thing that I want to build is like a local review tool. And I found this. So this will be our first tool.
Let's do it.
I've yet to download it and try it out, but it's open source. And it's built by the guy who does he's the I don't know if he's like the creator or the maintainer of like Node, but he's like one of the maintainers currently
interesting.
on Node. But it's called Get Human, and it's just like a local diff tool.
Okay.
And I don't know how like. I like this idea of like being able to create a review tool that like works with my workflow. Like I like this idea.
Yeah.
Like I saw somebody talking about this where it's like, man, what I want to do is like I want to be able to like jump from agent to diff and review, but then be able to put comments in a diff as like a way of like spinning off like new agents to like try like without like, but it's just like I guess like that's just like go back to your Tmux tab and do that. But I don't know. So I've been using Zed for like code review because it's a really good code review interface. I like that it has just like a really good Vim mode. I like that it just puts all of the like all of your changes into like one giant file buffer, which is nice. The only thing I catch myself doing is like I'll be reviewing in Zed, and then because I can edit, I'll just start editing in Zed. And so then I've got like NeoVim over here, and then I've got Zed over here, and I'm like editing in like multiple places. And then like I'll see something bigger and I'll have to like jump back to like an agent and be like, agent, can you change this? And so it's just like, I don't know, like I don't know what it's not like a big deal in terms of like, it just feels not ideal, like not perfect. And I know there's no reason it couldn't be, you know?
It almost reminds me of like, so I have a tool for you. And you probably have seen this tool, but it reminds me of this agentation, which I have been using for anytime I'm using React. Yeah. But like, it sounds like what you're saying is you want something like this, but for your diffs, where you could just be like, hey, here's this, I'm going to highlight this piece of code.
Yep.
And then I want to be like,
exactly what I want different about it. Yep.
This like stop using use effect here, whatever like that.
Right.
Is. So that way it
like jump. Yeah. Cause then I have to like jump to Tmux and then I have to like do
you have to
some
copy and paste the code.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You have to file like file reference. If you could just highlight it and like start typing and it automatically spins it up. Same with like agentation, which has been nice, is it copies like all of that.
Yes, all like the markup context and knows which component it came from. Not
where
just
I'm not
like
having to say like, oh, on the dashboard page in this particular file, and here's like, you know, halfway down the screen and there's this. No, like
exactly.
You already know. But that I like if you did agentation diff.
Yep.
Diffentation.
diffentation. What's so funny is like Adam, bunch of Adams on social media, but
All the
the Adam
atoms.
from Open Code.
Okay. Yep.
He
Vegan
recently
Adam.
had a tweet, I think yesterday or something, where he just was like being brutally honest about his experience with like writing AI code, where
Yep.
he was just like, it kind of mentioned that
For
whole
a
thing where it's like you
very
see little
popular
things,
AI.
yeah, like you do little things, and like eventually you just like, well, this is just a small fix. I could go do it myself,
Yep.
but why not just put it in the agent? And then you do that long enough, and then you don't even remember where things are located. Like you don't know where things are in your project. So like you can't
Yep.
even say, go look at this file. You end up being like, go find this thing. And it
Yep.
becomes like even more fuzzy in the way that you're like searching through. So like the one reason why I think like agentation is so interesting, just as like a design concept, like forget just as like a way to iterate on your UI design, but also
Mm.
because like there is I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but like there definitely is a like realistic path where people don't know what files exist in their code base,
Oh
what
yeah.
like they may know
What
the shape of
stack
some
their
things,
code
but like
base is
they may
in?
not know exactly where something is located because of how the code base works.
Yeah.
Or even that it could be like designers are participating in the code side of things and they
Mm.
don't know how to like grok a code base, hold it in their head and be able to say like, oh, this component, I know exactly where that is. So
Yep.
like being able to like have
Like
that
that's in the
ability.
layout versus a
Same with like,
component
yeah,
versus
like
a
same with
page.
like
Yeah.
diffs or same with like backend logic or something to where you can just say like just any way that you can add context from where the thing is happening is
Yeah.
such an interesting pattern.
And I think there's going to be more tools. And one of the reasons like I'm building out my own is because I personally like, similar to you, I like reviewing the code. And if it's in smaller manageable chunks, it's a lot easier for me to review it. And even if it's just like a quick glance of like, oh, I wouldn't call it this particular name, because I like still having those opinions of, hey, let's actually change the action or the controller name to this, or instead of a controller, let's make it an action, or instead of this, like stuff that like I probably have already defined in my, agents.md, it just ignores it, or I have to like remind it again.
Yes,
But
exactly.
it's all that stuff that I like having the review of, so that when I do have to like go look through and do it, like even if I'm not writing the code, I like to know that it feels like I could write it in a lot of ways.
Yes. Yes. I
Like, I think we're
so
gonna have more tools in the near future, specifically for actually viewing the code rather than just like YOLO, like, hey, that looks good. Looks fine.
right. Yes. And like context. Like that's like the big thing that I want is just like I want to be able to like there are times where I want to while I'm reviewing ask a very like I don't even necessarily want to change something. I might just be looking at some piece of code that they implemented and be like, what is this even doing? Like, why does
Hmm.
this work? How does this work? Why did you use this instead of this? Like, just being able to have like a chat conversation on the
Yeah.
diff would be like super useful. So like there's just I don't know, like I've got all these like things floating around because of like all the work that I'm doing on the DAW. Um,
Yeah.
because it's just so like things are complicated. Things like I'm getting into like big features now. Like I'm getting into like rendering clips. I'm getting into dragging clips around a time like a
Ooh.
timeline, like
Yeah.
rendering things with Canvas, tracking clip positions, not only clip positions, like tracking like hundreds of clip positions, tracking like intersections. Like if you drag a clip over another clip and you like currently there's like there can be multiple modes, but like the mode that I am starting with is what's called um what is it called? Clip mode, not clip mode, clip and split mode, maybe. Well, I
Okay.
can't remember the exact name. But
Does it
it's like,
still have those sections of clips in a different layer, basically, that you
well,
can flip
it's
to as a
well, no,
version?
it's like if you drag a clip over another clip, you delete,
Ah,
quote
okay.
unquote, like you
The s-
get rid
the
of
second clip.
the second clip, whatever
Got it.
that overlap is. And if
Yep.
your clip is smaller, like if say if there's like two clips and one's really long, one's really short, and you drag that one short one over the longer one, it splits the really long clip into 2 clips. So now you have
Yeah.
3 clips. And so like there's all this logic and math and all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
And it's,
I think that's the default behavior for like Final Cut Pro, for example, like video editor. Yeah.
and it is very much a like, hey, like this could go like get really buggy, really spaghetti, really fast. To where like, and it has happened. Like I posted a tweet yesterday that was just like, hey, I noticed you're doing a whole lot of math ad hoc here. Why, like, what are the primitives there? And so like that was like one thing that I wanted to show.
A funny story while you're pulling that up is we know AI is really really great at math for code, for example, right? It's like, hey, like I need to like calculate this logarithmic thing here. And it just knows how to do it. AI sucks for math when it comes to like I would still call it math, but when it comes to like music theory, I try
Mhm.
it did this. This was in like Chat GPT like 5.3 or something like that. It was one of the more recent updates, like about a month ago. And I was like, hey, if this is in B flat, then and these are the notes, what would it be in C? And it went for like 10 minutes talking itself in loops, making up random like key names and everything like that, and it just was not even close to
Not even
accurate to what it
close.
should be. I
Oh
was like,
man.
this is pretty crazy.
I have noticed that as well. Like, um, it's really funny because like there are times where, let me zoom this up a little bit. There are times where it's like you do things and like it I think it goes back to like something Aaron said a really long time ago, back when agents were like way worse. Which is like, if a computer's really good at doing something, let the computer do it.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like the AI might be really good at being able to generate a tool to calculate something, but it
Mhm.
is very bad at calculating something by itself because
Yeah.
it's trying to predict an answer, not trying to like, um, it's not trying to like verify, like mathematically verify an answer. It's trying to like predict an answer. So like, if you want to very like change scales or change keys of something, then like instead of telling the agent to do it, what you do is like you say, hey agent, build a tool that can do this. Adam Wathan actually ran into this. um he had like a really interesting tweet. Let me see if I can pull it down here. Where's this exact issue that you're talking about? Let's see here. I think he said, yeah, here we go. It was like LLMs are like non-deterministic, but surprisingly deterministic at things you don't want to be. Like, given 12 color palette options, it always manages to pick the exact same one. Um, and there was, yeah, this one. Somebody was like, ask any model to pick a number between 1 and 50, and they will always return 27. And he like proved it. Like,
That's pretty crazy.
and so like I commented on this and was just like, hey, like you should check out like a random generator. Like you should
Yeah.
tell it to build a random generator tool. And like that's ends up what he like ended up doing, which is like use the LLM to rank options for suitability. So like tell the AI to like to do some like data manipulation and then delegate to a script. Tell it to make a tool that actually uses that data to randomize it and do like a
Yeah.
random from like a ranked list. So like this
Yeah.
is like what you
Instead
were
of like,
talking,
yeah.
which is just like it's very bad at doing things that require some amount
Logic.
of logic, but it's very good at making tools that can be logical.
I just
But
tried that random number thing. That is pretty wild. It
yeah,
makes sense because like it is probably, oh, it's not like it has like the random number tool that it has built. it is a random number in its specific, training that, hey, when I ran this last time between 1 to 50, it was 27. So
Yes,
that's
exactly.
that's another number, a random number between 1 and 27.
That is 100% it, which is like, I like think about that now with like, if I want this to be like a cursor for like my doll, the doll that I'm making, if I want it to be like a cursor for music, then like you've got to be smart about getting it to generate music,
Yep.
because it's not just, you can't just be like, hey, generate this, but like you could maybe you could use AI to like be able to like create tools for generating styles of music. Like, hey, here is like a tool for how to generate like drum beats. And
Yep.
like here's another tool for how to like create different types of drum beats. And you can mix those together off of like some kind of something. I don't know. Like I've not gotten there yet, but like that's kind of what I'm thinking about. But what I've kind of gotten to is like, we're talking about like the Kanban thing. We're talking about like how do you write a code base that is able to like have multiple agents working on multiple things at a time.
Yeah.
And like what I've gotten to is like, you've got to be able to like ruthlessly extract primitives when you're building something. So like what I have here are like these like primitives. So this is like a range data type. Instead of like having ad hoc types across like my data that are like, oh, this has a start and an end. A clip has a start and an end. And then also a track has a start and an end. Like think of them as like data. Like if I just had like a track type and it had a start key and an end key, and then I had a clip type and it had a start and an end inside of it. The LLM doesn't know that those two concepts are like related. So it's all of these like utilities. Like I do this more with so I use spans, which is like a starting point in how big the thing is.
Yeah.
So then you can create like all these like utilities on top of it. So like this goes back to like my like functional programming roots and like trying to bring that to the forefront, which is like most every piece of data has like an underlying primitive that it is. Spans, it has a start, it has a size, and here are all of the like different types of math and utilities that you can do. Like give me the center of a clip, move a clip, transform a clip, like transform a span, and like clips can be spans, tracks can be spans. All these different things can be. When you like work with an agent and you don't extract this primitive out, what you get is like 6 different types of move, all in line where the moving is happening. When you do it this way, by defining like a data type for like a subset of that data, then like you get, the AI can say like, oh, this is a span data type. I know that span has all these like utilities that operate on this data type. And like the same with this, like this is like the intersection, overlapping, subtraction. This is that like thing where I was talking about, where it's like things start getting complicated, but when you start extracting primitives, it becomes really easy to have like AI not create spaghetti code everywhere because you have pulled out common logic. It's the same way, like this is like a spatial index type where like instead of the AI thinking of this as like buckets of clips that are just like ad hoc and doing a bunch of transformations on these like buckets of clips depending on what clips are currently visible on the timeline, there are like existing data types with like mathematical laws, like that's like the fun part of this, which is just like AI agents are really good at that. Like you can say like, hey, what are like really good data types for this type of problem? Give me that data type. Let's implement that data type. Let's make sure that we have tests that guarantee certain properties on that data type. And then you use that data type to implement this feature that we have. And so like that has been like what has made all of this, like why I can spin up multiple agents. Like this has helped the ability to spin up multiple agents because like most of the time they're not create, like, I'm avoiding the, like, exponential growth of logic,
No.
and, like, I don't have to review as much code because a lot of the, like, basic math that is happening for transformations across, like, a timeline has already been defined. It's just implementing new ways of using that math to make
Yeah.
something happen. So, like, I am only reviewing that, like, interaction layer, not like the full stack of, like, well, how is the interaction starting? Well, what calculations are happening on those clips as they're getting dragged around? Like, oh, that stuff's already been written. Like, I can skip having to worry about that. I'm literally just reviewing, well, how are we, like, initiating a move, and what happens when you, like, release the clip, kind of thing. All the in
Yeah.
between stuff has already been, like, done. But even when you do this, it's like you have to review it and be like, hey, like, why did you do this from scratch here? Did you know that this module exists? Go use that, please. So it's like, it's still frustrating, when you're, like, doing that kind of stuff, because it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, this exists. Like, go use this. You have to remind it. Like, I put it in, like, my agent's MD with, like, a doc, like an agent's MD that points to this doc that says, like, look at this, read this. Here are the rules around, like, how to use the domain modeling that we've, like, come up with.
Yep.
I don't know.
It is wild that, like, I think the more, especially when I'm using AI within a tool, not like using AI to build it, but if I'm using AI within a tool, for example, um, I broke something on my guitar, so I was going to actually like demo today, but we'll do that. We'll do that for next week because I have to wait for a replacement. But within my keyframe iOS app that I built, I have an AI preset generator
Yep.
that basically it scans all the available plugins I have, and then based off of like specific sounds I make, it does it. But I learned quickly, just like you kind of like are saying, like anytime I want to use AI within something, even
Mhm.
within structured output and guidelines and boundaries, usually the thing that I have decided is best is if I have specific APIs or specific even external APIs that I can work with. I found like this one that basically like returned an API that basically returned like um, even just like comma separated values for if I was saying, hey, I want like this thick groovy bass. If I found this API that would return comma separated values for like music coding talk in a lot of ways. So that way I could catalog my plugins based off of those and be able to return it
Mm.
instead of having just AI be like, oh, this preset sounds like it's probably groovy, or this preset sounds like it's thick or whatever,
Right,
and
right.
just guessing. Is it that deterministic aspect with using AI within the tools that you're doing is like, I think is so huge because it's letting it's giving like those boundaries, but also at the same time you you almost give it a little bit more of like I don't know, a little bit more of like a human aspect in a way, because then they're deciding how to use the tools instead of them
Yes,
making
yes,
things up.
yes, 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 yes. That is like, I think that is like why I was like, I wanna get into Pi, because I think that
Mm,
there is I think there's like too much, like, agents are extremely powerful, and I think that certain harnesses have put too many, like, have, like, blocked off too many paths for them.
yep.
And, like, you are telling it to do certain things. Then when I try to tell it to do a certain thing, the things you're telling it to do have conflicted with the things that I'm trying to tell it to do. Um, and so I like this idea of, like, removing all of the preconceived notions from these agents and having more control, like you're saying, like, more control over deciding what pieces are deterministic. Um, I don't know. I'm looking forward to, like, digging into that. But what you got? You got anything else? I've got a couple
Yeah,
of rants. I've already
yeah.
ranted, but it's been like a rant day.
It's
I've
it's
got
it's a it's a
specific.
good it's a good rant day. The thing that I had on my um where is the specific article. Let me pull this up because I had this tool that I was looking at, and I immediately thought of this particular rant in terms of like how we use um like how full circle we've become.
Oh snap! Let's see if you and me are
Um
on the. I feel like you and me are like this. This is why we have a podcast together.
yeah, this is it. I found a different one, but let me I know where I put it. Let me put it up in here. Let's see. Do. Okay. It is called wiretext.app. And the funny thing is like every single tool that I like find nowadays, like the more bare bones and deterministic I can like have it, the
Mm-hmm.
better it usually becomes.
Yes.
So I'm gonna
Whoa.
share my screen real quick
Oh, this is fun.
because
Please
this
do.
this this is this is uh this is really fun. Let me go ahead and plop this open here.
This is. Have you ever heard of? There's a tool called Monodraw.
Ooh, oh, I have not.
So this is Monodraw is like the OG, like the go. It's like a Mac desktop app specifically for creating ASCII diagrams, which is like what this is. This is obvious. Like it's just like this is like a take on that same concept of like ASCII diagrams and stuff. But I like this. What MCP like this has like an AI component to it.
Yeah, the nice part is like, so I am not a designer,
Mm-hmm.
but I like nice things. And so the neat part that I was thinking about this, my specific rant is like, we have, when I was learning to code, it was all about, oh, we need like specific, you need to be very clear to like the computer to say like, anytime you want something, you have to be specific, saying like, hey, instead of like the peanut butter and jelly being made like this particular way, you need it to tell it, hey, take a knife and put the peanut butter on the
Mm-hmm.
bread first, make sure the bread is like, you need to be so specific. And then we got to this point with even just in like last 3 years, last 2 years, last 1 year, where you could be like, I don't even have to be specific in how I'm like coding. I could just be like, hey, let's like frameworks and libraries made it so easy to be like, hey, it's just natural language. And then it's all obfuscated behind the scenes.
Right.
And then AI came, and it's even more of like, okay, now I just have to tell the AI in natural language. But I feel like we're on this verge. Maybe it's like that, like the nitwit meme where it's like it goes
Like
up the
curve
slope and
up,
back down.
curve down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it dimwit meme? Whatever it's
It's
called.
the midwit meme, I think is what it's called.
Midwit. There you go. I don't know. I said dim. Midwit.
Well, because that I think
Dim, mid,
dimwit is also a good term.
dyslexic. Um,
Dim mid is I didn't even notice that. Dim is literally mid.
but I was thinking about like how now it's like you almost have to be so specific to an agent to get the thing that you want to do. And this is really neat where it has an MCP layer where I can, anything that I'm like typing here automatically goes, but I could also just like export this as markdown and
Oh,
copy to the clipboard.
yeah.
So then I'm
I do
like the thing that for some reason there's so much things that like I'll be like, hey, like for we need a button here, and then but like the icon is like on top of the text, and you're like,
Mhm.
that is not like what a button is. And there's so much that I'm trying to like wireframe or even
Right.
just
It's
like
really good for like
out.
first iterations.
Oh yeah, where it's like I want this to be exactly how I say it, and instead of I think I can have more like opinions about things because I can say this is what the progress bar should look like. It shouldn't be a stupid spinner that
Right.
just keeps spinning until I do it. Like all of a sudden the opinions actually matter. But I think like the neat part that I wanted to kind of rant about a little bit with this tool, which I think this is an incredible tool. Like I'm gonna do this more and more,
Mm-hmm.
especially that just is literally just you can export as plain text, markdown, HTML, or specific for GitHub, where it's like, hey, here's like the summary wireframe, and it becomes its own
Yeah.
output.
Yeah.
But in AI now, it seems like we almost have to go back full circle to say like pseudocode. We never we kind of stopped we stopped writing pseudocode as a stop because it's like I can just say the thing and then it's going to actually write the code. So instead of me pseudocoding it, I want to write it. Now I've found myself doing pseudocode more where it's like I want the API for a particular thing to be like this, or I want the design to look something like this, or I want when I'm doing this is the UX or the DX that I want. And all of a sudden you're getting into like this merge layer where we're going from natural language back into this is my preference, work around it, make it happen.
Right. I think people it's like we're getting past we're doing like moving past like layers of fidelity where it's like I'm just amazed that I can say something and the agents know what to do. And like it is understood that I am going to be responsible for it's like understood I'm going to be responsible for
all of it.
filling in the rest of it. But like if it can just generate a scaffold quickly for me, then like I will take care of everything else. Where it's like now it's like, oh well, now I can if I'm more specific, I can do even less work. So I think it's been like really interesting, and it's not like it's not like it's like the I don't know if it's a meme or something where it's like when you look at something and it looks like a circle, but if you just like rotate it, it's like spiraling. So like things are looping back on itself, but it's getting to another layer in that like loop process.
Yeah.
All right. I want to show you something.
Show me.
And then I want to rant about something.
That's why we call it Riff and Refine.
We sure do. So I'm just going to show you the DAW.
Yes. Let's go. After I build my agent orchestrator, maybe I'll build my own DAW then too.
All right. This is the current status of our DAW. We have very nice clips now. Like these are like exactly how I want.
Showing it. Right. Plop you over.
Oh yeah, that might actually be useful. We want everyone else to see instead of just us. All right. Perfect. So these are the clips. It
looks so nice.
You can have like select states. You can move them around. You get like a little ghosted version of it. It changes colors based on what track you're moving it to. If you're moving a MIDI clip to an audio track, you get like the little no, can't do that. And then if you move it over something else, it clips it. And as you can see here, and now like this is like the new clip, the new cut clip.
Nice.
So you can like we can move things around. The next thing that I'm going to implement is like resizing clips. So like when you hover over this like right side of it, you can drag it to make it a larger clip,
like longer.
Right, because what I want to do, like I need to update
what would be sick is that if you like drag at the top, a lot of them like will start to loop it. Like if it's a MIDI clip.
What?
So like a lot of DAWs, like if you drag like not on the right side of a MIDI clip, but like usually like the top right, they'll be like, oh hey, let's start looping this in whatever specific measure that you've done.
Pattern, and then by like it's kind of like the Excel thing when you grab like the little dot and drag it, it duplicates it.
Exactly.
Ooh, I'm putting that on the feature list for sure.
Do like a 4-4 pattern, you just like duplicate instead of like copy paste it.
Oh yeah, that would be awful. No, that's smart. Yeah, no, definitely want that. And then what dragging will enable me to do is to be able to say, like, instead of it'll basically be able to give me, like, the other mode of overlay, which is just like, um, if you drag this over and it clips this, and then you move this away, what I want it to be able to do is if you resize it to the left, you'll get that MIDI back because, like,
Ooh, okay.
what you're looking at is, like, there are 2 layers of data. You know, like, you have your clip coordinates, which is like, here's how big the clip is.
Yeah.
And then what you have underneath it is like, here is like your stream of MIDI data. And then you have like some sort of like offset. So like when you just make like a standard MIDI clip, the offset would be 0. Like you're
Yeah.
starting with all your clips at the beginning. But if you start dragging this, I guess that's like the fun part about this. And this is the rant that I want to go on. So
Let's go.
the rant that I want to go on is, let me pull up. I said something. I like have been just writing down like little ideas. Creation requires suffering.
Okay.
is the thing that I wrote down. And the reason why like I wrote that down is because like there are so many decisions that go into figuring this out.
Mm.
And I can't just like, if I just said, "Hey AI, figure all this stuff out," then like there would be no, like it would build up, like it would be like this where it's like, "Hey, I've built a bunch of stuff," but it's missing things because like you didn't actually get in there and try to do things with it and break it. Um and so like there's like this like super long tail, like what you're saying, like, okay, like what happens if I resize this from the left to the right? Should which side should it like clip things from? So like, or like with this audio track, if I
Mm.
have this audio track and these waves, if I start dragging it and making it smaller, should should it clip from the end, or should it clip, like, should it start clipping from here? Should it start clipping from here? Should it, like, should there be a hotkey to where it'll like reverse which side gets clipped based on what you're dragging? Um, there's like all these like micro decisions for like how to build things that are this complicated.
Yeah.
And I just think that the only way for people to what happened was I saw this article. Um, let me pull it down here. Saw this article, and I think the article is just a little bit too much. Let me see if this might be
Well, too
against.
over the top.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad. Here we go. Yep, this one, against taste. It's a really good
Interesting.
article.
Okay.
Where he's like, "Hey, everyone's talking about taste. Taste this, taste that," and he kind of goes into this whole concept of like, everyone's talking about like taste is like the final frontier, and the way he described taste is like you are the selector. Like you are the ultimate consumer. You are consuming things that other people are creating, and you are deciding if they're good or not.
Mm.
And like his main argument was that, and like what's really funny, let me see if I can pull this in, against taste. Somebody wrote a follow-up. Yes,
Against.
Carrie from Linear.
Oh,
And he wrote
nice.
like a against taste. Um they're both like, it's just like, um I think like the gist of it that I was like running into, where is my window? There it is. All right. Um what I ended up like starting to feel was just this like exhaustion with people talking about what the right way to make things is.
Mm.
You know, like everyone's like, "Oh, like taste is going to be the only thing left." And you've got to be like really good at knowing what things, like when something's good, or knowing when like code is good, when design is good. And like Will read all the guy who wrote that Will read all this and is like, you're just talking about consumerism and like actually back in the day, blah blah blah, this. And then like Carrie has this like alternate perspective on this, which is just like, well, taste is not just consumerism. Like taste is like a muscle, and you only get that muscle by like practice and exercise. And like, yes, you do have to consume a lot of things that are good to get taste, but taste is also like your ability to like bring things to reality and like understand things in context, not just if something is good according to society, but like if something is good for what you are making, what you're trying to build. And like the reason why like creation requires suffering came to mind is that like the only, I think what everyone keeps missing is that like everyone just keeps yapping. That's all they're doing. It's like they're just,
It's just yapping.
yapping. Like Will doesn't make anything. He doesn't. Like he is an incredible writer, but all he does is write.
Yeah.
And so like, yes, like if you have opinions on how to write things, by all means, share all your opinions about how to write better. But like he's making comments about like being somebody who's good at identifying good style and uses like Renaissance type things to like make points. And then like Carrie comes from it as like somebody who actually built something. And like he has a lot of really good opinions on it. But like once again, it's just like more talking.
Yeah.
And so like I just like got fed up with it. And I was just like, creation requires suffering, aka like quit talking and just start making. You know, like if you are actually building real things, these things that everyone argues about online become extremely obvious. Like it becomes extremely obvious like what place we have in the AI loop if you are actually out there building real things with AI. Like you don't have to fear, well, what happens when AI can do this? Well, try to do that with AI. Like quit worrying about it or talking about it and just go out there and do it. And like surprise, like you will figure out for yourself how good it is or how not good it is at these different things that you are trying to do.
No.
And like you will figure out, well, where do I fit in? Well, instead of waiting for somebody to tell you where you fit in or what things you should be learning or getting better at, like just go figure them out yourself. Like you got to go suffer. You've got to just get in the mix. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to start making stuff, and you got to start like suffering. You can't wait for somebody to tell you what the easy path is. You got to get in there and like have a little pain. Maybe you go down a bunch of dead ends. Maybe you try these like new pathways for how to code and like you waste a bunch of time. But guess what?
Yep.
You now know more than anyone else who hasn't done that is. And like you can not have to waste that time in the future. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Like that has been like my big rant lately, which I've like caught myself falling into this trap of like I am catching myself doing this where I'm like, oh, well, like let me share my thoughts on something. And I'm like, no, immediately shut up, Will. And just like it's like I've been like trying to force myself to just be like, just show things that you've built. And if you want to share something, like some opinion you figured out along the way, do it in conjunction with sharing the thing you actually made. Because that is when I think your opinion should actually matter, is when you can say, hey, I did this thing and here's what I learned doing it. Not hey, here's what I think based on like opinions that I've observed. Like, did you get your hands dirty? No, don't care about your opinion. Sorry.
I like this. I like this spicy Will take. I'll riff on it a little bit too, because like I like this, and I'll have a practical follow up question.
Okay.
In regards to this take, that's something that I've been thinking through personally. First, Peakfo, glad to have you here. When you run decisions, you get paralyzed and can't decide. I think that's the beauty of it, though. Like that's
also, I was ranting and I wasn't paying attention at what point when this question came up. What was
I think it was the decisions of like, oh, what should I do in terms of like, do I do it like this way or do I do it like the way that everything else does it? in terms of like
Yes, yes,
UI,
yes, yes.
UX, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And I like this. First off, Bigfoot, if you're still here and still watching, I added it's down right now because of Laravel Cloudflare issue. But on TweakFlux, I added your idea about the AI theme generation
Mhm.
when it is actually live. But second, I kind of have like one rant and then one like practical question for you, Will, that I've been like thinking through. My rant is this is why I think as a developer, if you want to like build project products,
Mhm.
and I would say like even as like a you just if your only goal was ever to be like an individual contributor and you just wanted to like make a lot of good money with working for a company, I
Mhm.
still think you have to like I still think you have to think through projects, especially in today's day and age within AI, all encompassing in terms of like, okay, how am I going to think through like this decision to like onboard, even if it's just personal software. That's why I think personal software is so big right now. And
Mm.
why I'm a big advocate is it is because, and it kind of leans into my practical question, is because now I'm thinking through, okay, when I install this, is it going to work the way I want it to work? When I
Mhm.
click this button, is that going to work the way I want it to work? When I, do play, like I have used a personal app, an iOS app that I have
Mhm.
built. I've used it live in front of thousands of people over the past 5 weeks.
Mhm.
And like I have had to not deal with it because it's actually worked, but I've had to think through, okay, in every single situation, Wi-Fi goes down, this specific thing, or like it doesn't like the button is too small, whatever I need to do, like all of those decisions have to be made for me.
Mhm.
But I also, in the back of my mind, just because I'm like a entrepreneur mindset, I also think of like, okay, how can I make this for me while also making it for others who have similar problems like me? And so
Mm.
my
Mhm.
practical follow up to you, Will, is his for the people who are like, you just have for the ideas, which I agree with in terms of like personal software. It's like I'm just going to build it for me. When you're thinking through your DAW of like, okay, should this do this? Yes, your first thought might be, okay, I every other DAW does this. So it's
Mhm.
probably a good safe bet to make it do that.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But when do you say, but I don't want it to do that?
Mm.
And
See, now
how do we
this
balance that
that is a
with
good
the outcome?
question.
Like for my agent orchestrator, for example, I am building it specifically for me,
Right.
but I'm also like in the back of my mind, like, hey, other people might find this useful. And so
Right.
I'm trying to like always balance it with like a 90% like, hey, this is my personal
Yep.
opinion. Even my starter kit, for example, that I do, I still like make it so like it should work for most people, but it is built for me.
Yep. To me, there are two approaches to this. Um, there is the AMP way of doing things, and then
Ooh,
there is the Pi way of doing things.
okay. I
So
like this analogy.
AMP, the way that they have approached it, which I think they are like after observing Pi, are making some like changes themselves based on stuff that they've been posting this week. But
No.
the way that they have approached building their agent is saying instead of giving people endless amounts of like decisions to make for their own workflows, we are going to make those decisions for them because we think we have enough knowledge in the space to make calls for how something could be done in a way that is like easier for people. Like there's less mental overhead. You can just use the tool and get the best experience out of the box.
No.
And then there's the pie way of doing things, which is okay, you get nothing out of the box other than something that works,
No.
but we are going to build a suite of tooling around it that you can like it's like Legos like a Lego set,
No.
like it's buying an action figure versus buying like a model kit, like you can either get this fully done thing that you can immediately start playing with, or we can give you all these pieces so that you can build it the way you want it to look and work and function. And I think that is like at a large scale, there are like some people who like they build their entire company around we're going to make this decision for you, and then there are people who are like, we are going to make this as easy to configure as possible. I think where realistically like most products live is like a mixture of those two,
Hmm.
where like, yes, we should probably go with some of these defaults. Oh, yes, we should allow like the user to be able to configure certain pieces of this. However, like what makes you have like what makes your product better than competition is like how you differentiate from them. The reason why Pi and Amp can live in the same market is because like they serve two completely different types of user. So like you have to decide for yourself, like who are you solving this for? So like even if you're like, hey, like I'm solving this for myself, and you're like, well, I also want to solve it for people who are like me. Well, like
Yeah.
who are those people? What did they care about? And like try to think just one level broader than that, versus like, oh well, I'm trying to do it for people who like this, like your YouTube channel, for example. Like you
Yeah.
were like, hey, like I want to create a YouTube channel on like thinking through like how to do things with AI for people who are not technical. Like how do I build and create things with like for the web that require technology, but I'm not a technical person. That is
Yeah.
like that is not who you are. So like you've got to start making different types of decisions based on like who those people are. So
Yeah.
I think that's like the answer, which is just like
Audience.
when do you have the right conviction that that's how something should be done for the person who's going to use it.
Hmm.
So for you, that's easy. It's like, well, what do I think's better? What works better
Yeah.
for me? That changes for like your YouTube channel, where you're probably going to have to start um, getting some stream of information from somebody who is in the market that you're trying to like get like their attention. You can't just be like, well, what do I think is good? Because like that's not you. You're extremely technical. You're not gonna be able to see all the gaps. So
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree, because I think it's one of those things where you almost have to start off. I think almost every single instance is probably, especially like as you know, if the goal is like, hey, I'm building something to learn, I'm building, your DAW, I'm building my agent orchestrator, I'm building my little Keytar iOS app and Mac app kind of thing. Most of it was to learn and to solve my problem. But then as you go, you're like, oh, some other people are probably going to have like this idea too. And so I want to make sure like it solves my problems first, but has sensible
mhm,
defaults or sensible options to be able, well, you can turn this off or you can do this if you really want to use it. Like I think of like even like Tailwind, for example. It started off as like a personal project and then
mm,
more people started using it. So like it was based off what Adam wanted. And
right.
then it slowly just evolved into, okay, how do we
Yep.
make it so more people can do it?
Yep. There are so many paths to products for sure. All right. Why don't we wrap it up? What do you got going on next week?
Why don't you start? I'm gonna grab my baby because my wife
That
had to leave for a
sounds
little
great.
bit.
Next week, we are launching, we're doing another product launch. So I'm going to be like very heads down with work related items, to make sure that like we are ready for launch. And then also just some more, like AI related things, some DAW related things, trying to just keep pushing on that, getting my hands dirty, suffering, look at that cutie.
I know. She the first time on stream. Launched 5 weeks ago.
No, sorry, no, the DAW is not what is launching. It's for like my day job. What I don't talk about that much, but do a lot of every week.
Right. That's fun. This next week for me, we have a Laravel Cloud turns 1 next Tuesday. And so that will be fun. We're gonna do kind of like a all day kind of stream, have a bunch of people on the stream. I'll be there. We'll build some things. We'll ship some things. So it'll be fun in terms of day job, and built a fun little app for Laracon EU. I've gotten to build some fun like demo apps. I built a demo app for Laracon AU that was done on stage, even though I wasn't there. I'm doing EU. That's mainly for like the the non like table people. So like you can like sign up to ship on cloud and it will just like automatically
Oh, nice.
show
Yeah.
that you did one. So people who like come to the booth. That's
Yep.
what it is.
Booth people, booth visitors, bunch of
Booth,
marketing and sales type work.
yeah, little boothers.
Yeah.
And then the thing I'm working on personally is I have gotten into, so for my wife's birthday, she turned 30 on Monday.
Right.
I
Happy birthday.
I do this fun thing where for big moments of our life, I don't write too much songs. I've probably written maybe 10 in my life, depending on like church stuff, personal stuff.
Mhm.
And then some I wrote a musical for college. But for big accomplishments in our life, for like when I first started dating her, I wrote her a song. When we got engaged, I wrote her a song. When we got married, I wrote her a song. And then for her 30th birthday, I wrote her a song that was like for her and for like our 3 girls at the same time.
Yeah.
And just like the process of writing and like actually being, I've written before, but not with like full production. It's mostly just like written and then just, you know, recording me and
Like
and a guitar.
a single instrument. Yeah.
So this is the first time I tried doing a little bit more production.
Ooh,
And I was
multiple instruments, like
multiple
full-
instruments, some MIDI, some
yeah.
like MIDI, some drum programming,
Yeah.
like actually recording to like a click track, like all the stuff that I like doing. And I'm like, oh, I want to do more of this.
Right.
So like, I'm going to use your DAW. Right now I'm using Ableton, but maybe I'll swap off of it once your DAW comes out.
Maybe in 2 years you can try it.
No, but so like this next week, I want to try to like do kind of similar to like how the thing that I started building with or getting better at building things was like just building an app from scratch every single day. I want to try building making a song every single day. Doesn't matter how much it sucks at the end of it. I just want to like
we are going to write this down because I have so many follow-up questions about that, but I can't stay and ask them. So
there you go.
I want to ask you about that next week because I'm curious. I'm just curious on like why, not the song part, the app part, but also like it will then tail into the song part. But yes, I want to dig into that some more.
Dig into the why on the
docket. I want to know why you think making an app every day is valuable.
Oh, making an app, not even the song part, making an app.
Well, we'll follow it up with the song part because I think they're related.
Oh, they're very much related.
So
they're very much related.
I think they will be the same and different at the same time. But
yeah,
cool.
That is.
All right.
I did drop that like nugget just and not even have time to back it up. Yes, that is a core belief of mine.
I built an app every day. Anyway, cool. Well, I've got to go. I've got to go pick up some children.
Sweet. Family Friday. I've already got one I launched.
Oh, launch that one. I got to go pick mine up before they just get left at school by themselves.
There you go.
See you, everybody.
Hey, thanks everyone for hanging out. Have a good Friday.
Good Friday, good weekend.